What's up, guys? Working on an '08 Club Car Precedent. Customer brought it to us because they broke off the stud on the motor. I'm gonna show you how to fix it. Normal style Precedent. Gonna pull this motor out. And a little tip for you is, if you don't do this on a daily basis, you're one of the many people out there that we do these videos for that are in your garage and trying to get this done yourself. The best thing for you to do before you even remove this motor is go ahead and take some good pictures of where these cables are attached to the motor, because they do have specific numbers and letters that you do have to attach the cable to properly. Alright guys, so there we go. Got it out. Stud had broken off when they tried to put it back on the motor, so there's one of them. But you can see all of this raised plastic right here, but you don't see it on this side. That's melted. Kind of hard to see it, but you can see kind of that rough little edge right there. Well, that's melted. Then you can see this little piece right here, that's melted up because it's part of that plastic. There you go. Let me push it back out of the way. Piece just stuck there. So yeah, we definitely got some kind of brush issue going on here. Maybe the brush assembly is broken back here. But yeah, you want to make sure you get all your cables off. Okay, this thing has three, one here, and one there, 11mm bolts. Then it has a support bolt right here that's 13mm. You get that out, you unplug your speed sensor, and then you can wiggle it right off the input shaft and right onto your table. Then you're gonna get an 8mm, and you're gonna get this bolt, this bolt, this bolt, this bolt. You also can get your speed sensor out of the way. Alright guys, now that you've got your speed sensor out of the way, you just pry it out of the way. It is specifically orientated. You can see right here there's a little lip on the edge. Well, it goes with this lip or this insert there, and it just pops out of the way. Right there is a crack in the speed sensor's magnet. So this is going to have a multiple problem issue. This is small compared to probably what's going on inside of here. Alright guys, so after getting this thing open, seeing down inside to the field, the magnetic field, which is magnet here, magnet there, magnet there, and magnet there. I mean, normally if it's a field problem, the copper is so discolored and it's fragile as can be, will break just at a small little wiggle. You normally don't see the coloring of the insulator for the magnets still there. So there's really, I don't think there's any problem with the field. Here's the armature. And so I've gone over this one as well. I see no issues with the armature field. There's no broken windings anywhere on this thing. The actual surface, the brush surface, it looks really, really good. I'm gonna have to assume, because at this point there's no telltale indication that it's any kind of field problem or an armature problem like our diagnostic tool showed us, because this thing is so badly moving. I mean, you can see how it's moving. That's definitely going to touch the case somewhere. Well, if this comes over and touches that case because it was already melted down and the golf cart's still operational, this could have caused that basically short circuiting of the diagnostic tool, thinking that there is a field problem or an armature problem. Alright guys, so we've got our new insulator, the outer and inner, on both places of the motor where your cable's attached to. Now we're ready to put the brushes in our brush assembly and get that put back in here so we can get our armature back in here and then get our end cap back on. Alright guys, armature all cleaned up. We ended up having to put a new bearing on the commutator right here. The other one just felt like it had basically grooved out the inside of the race, so when you would turn it you could feel it kind of like hop around that, or one of the balls inside of there just got a bad spot in it. It made it feel like that too. But we went ahead and replaced this bearing, and then here's our new speed sensor magnet It basically just slides on top of the shaft right there. And then once you get all your motor back together, get all this stuff back on there, you'll have, because they do send this in a kit, this is the actual sensor, which would be that right there. It's just new. Not every time the speed sensor code shows up is there a sensor problem and magnet problem. Like in this case, I more than likely could reuse the actual sensor itself, but the old magnet, and I'm not actually even sure where that's at anymore because it did crumble into pieces when I was getting it off of the shaft there. But when you get the kit, you get a new sensor and everything with it, so you just as well put the new sensor with it when you go. Kind of like one of those peace of mind things. Gives you peace of mind that that is also new and it should be communicating to the controller properly. Alright guys, so got our new brushes installed. Got our armature put back in, brush assemblies tightened down. Probably gonna want to do an extra set of hands when you do this, because you are gonna have to hold your brushes away from the armature as you slide the casing over top of the armature. And once you get your armature sit in there, you can let go of the brushes, and that's exactly where that's gonna stay. Basically line up your ring here, because when you go to put your cap back on, you got those two holes right there that need to line up as close as possible to the holes in your ring here. That way you don't have to fight trying to fish around in there and slide that ring while the cover is on and all that good stuff. So just keep that in mind, and probably before you go back, right here in the cap, throw you a little bit of grease right here, just a thin little layer of grease in there, just so it'll slide over the bearing a little easier as you're going back on with your cap. When you're putting some tightness on your bolts right here, don't tighten these nuts a bit over snug, because you don't want to crack your inner insulators. We just dealt with that, had to fix all that stuff with the old ones, so you definitely don't want to have to deal with that. Okay guys, now I have got the brush assembly and all the brushes and the armature sitting where it's supposed to. Now's the time you come to putting your cap on, and see, I made some marks. You can see a little bit right there. I made a mark on one of two spots where the bolts were, and how they were mated up against the barrel. And you can see right there's a little mark, so I'm going to take and line up my marks that I made, and I just do that for myself really. Pressing gently until the bearing slides into place. We get our long bolts, and we're just going to get these things started, because when it's standing upright like that, it's putting pressure, a little bit of pressure on the brush assembly, and so we just want to get everything started, and then that way when you do that, you can pull up the entire motor together. Alright, so nice and easily you just do side to side. If you're using an impact gun, do not let it impact to start with. Alright, so you see I didn't tighten those all the way up just yet, and that's because I got to fool around with this ring that I was telling you guys down in here. You definitely should try to keep those lined up as much as possible, because that thing is kind of hard, and most of the time the screw that comes with it isn't actually long enough. See, it's sat right down on there. I can't touch that ring. Alright guys, so I ended up having to find a little bit longer screw than what these are right here, and once I was able to get one side started into that ring, you're able to basically like pull up, so you bring the ring a little bit closer, and that way the actual screw will touch the proper, will go to the proper height, screw into that hole on this side, and you just take this one out of the way, put the other proper screw that was in it to start with, put that one in the side, tighten them up, you're good to go. And then the other tip I would say is to spin that motor around. Make sure you don't hear any kind of weird like clicking or anything like that. One of the wires on the brush is hitting the armature somewhere or something like that. And so the last couple of things I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to finalize tightening these bolts up here in our 4 positions, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to tighten these up on our studs. Just don't over tighten those because you don't want to bust the inside insulator. But other than that, once you're done tightening all this up, you're ready to rock and roll. Back to the golf cart. Alright guys, got it back in the cart, and just the same as taking it off, you do the reverse to put it back on. You'll get it slipped up on the input shaft. Be very careful doing that because that motor is heavy and it will not feel good if you miss the splines and whoosh, hits you in the hand, chest, face. As always guys, we thank you so much for watching. Hope this video helps some of you out there. If this has any questioning behind it from any of you guys out there, please feel free to reach out to us. Make a comment on the channel. Pretty sure our phone number's on there as well. Just give me a call. I'll talk to you directly. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up guys. Grab that notification bell and make sure you subscribe to the channel. You won't regret it. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to all our subscribers. God bless you all.